Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is Wednesday. Inshallah, we will just go over a few questions that we had received. I think we have about 5 questions this week. So first question that we will go over today, and before I begin, as we always say, that if anyone has any questions, please remember to send me an email. The email address is mufti@islamstl.org. Again, mufti, MUFTI, @islamstl.org. And inshallah, we will try to answer as many questions as we can. First question is one that we have received in the past, and I will answer it once again because it was received. And that is, please let me know what is the ruling for opening the phone and reading. Like if somebody has, meaning the Quran, that's what I think they meant. So if somebody has a Quran app on their phone, and if they open up the Quran app, and if they're reading the Quran from that, what is the ruling with regards to that? Do they have to be in the state of wudu? And if somebody takes their smartphone that has a Quran app into a place like the bathroom, can you do that? So the answer to this question is pretty simple, that many scholars have said that when the app itself, when the Quran app itself is open, then when whatever portion of that app has the Quranic verses that are written upon it, then that is in the same hukum or the same ruling as the Mus'haf or the Quran on its own, meaning that if somebody touches that portion that has the letters of the Quran on it, then one must be in the state of wudu for that. If somebody touches another portion of the screen that does not have it, then in that case it is not necessary. However, out of adab, they should still be in the state of wudu for that. Now, when the app is completely off and it's gone, then in that case, of course, the phone, even if you're not in the state of wudu, and you can take your phone to places like the bathroom and whatnot. It doesn't mean that if somebody's in the bathroom that they should be playing around with their phone in the bathroom. I'm saying if it's in your pocket or something like that, and if somebody has to take it, in that case, there's no harm and issue with that in any way whatsoever. It's only when the app itself is open, then one should have the adab and the etiquette of reading the Quran. Second question, somebody is saying that they know somebody who suffers from urinary incontinence, and they use the bathroom and they do wudu before starting salah, and while they are praying, then leaks of a few drops of urine, they leak a few drops of urine when they started their salah. And this is something that at times continuously happens. So this situation becomes very problematic, and then they think that their prayers are not accepted because of the condition. So what is the ruling with regards to such a person who has this type of ailment or such type of disease or whatever? Now in Sharia and in Islam, alhamdulillah, when it comes to our deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it such that for people who are in different situations and who have different problems, there are different rulings for such people. So a person who is in a condition like that, they can be classified as what they call a ma'dhur. A ma'dhur in Arabic means one who is excused. Now, what does it mean for somebody who's excused? Does it mean that they don't have to pray salah at all? No, it doesn't mean that they don't have to pray salah. Ma'dhur has certain conditions in which a person, how do they become a ma'dhur? What are the conditions that are for it? So there are 3 things that have to happen. First of all, the condition of initiation. How does one become a ma'dhur? right? So what is the condition of initiation? The second thing that I will speak about is the condition of continuation. Once the establishment of being a ma'zur occurs, what is the condition for the continuation of that status of being a ma'zur? And thirdly, what is the thing that will terminate the condition of being a ma'zur? So three things to mention. Number one is the condition of initiation. So the scholars say that the initiation phase is that an entire prayer time passes by with the excuse, yani the excuse that the person has that renders one unable to retain their wudu present. It's present in such a manner that one did not even have enough time to perform a minimal wudu and pray a quick prayer. So let me give you an example. If the Asr time started at 4 o'clock, just to give it a hypothetical example here, Asr time begins at 4 o'clock, Maghrib is at 6 o'clock, so there's a 2-hour gap. Now, in this 2-hour gap, the person is having such problems, whether it's a gas problem, whether it's urine drops that are continuously dripping, whatever it may be. So a person is having such a problem that in that 2-hour period, not even the amount of time passed where they could have made just the farad of wudu and prayed a quick 4 rak'ah of salah. So you can, imagine how much time that takes. But even that much time did not pass without that problem occurring. So if the whole salah period went where not even that much time elapsed where the problem did not occur, then in that case they will be classified as a ma'zur. So that is the initiation phase. So now they are officially considered a ma'zur. So now what about continuation? How do you remain? Does it mean that every salah has to be like that? Because, for example, from Isha to Fajr, there's a long period of time. No, so the condition of continuation is, the ulama say, to remain considered as someone with a chronic excuse or being a ma'zur, then it is only merely necessary that the excuse exists one time in each prayer time. So once the initiation phase is gone, which is the most difficult one to attain, then the continuation phase is such that even if that problem occurs once in that entire salah time, then the person will remain a ma'zur. And this is, the ulama mention a particular legal maxim from Usul al-Fiqh, a particular ruling which basically is in the translation of continuation is easier than initiation. So that is what they use in this particular sense. The third thing is the condition of termination. How does one not become a ma'zur anymore? How do they become like the ruling of a regular person? So one is no longer considered as a ma'zur or a legally excused person after an entire prayer period goes by without that condition occurring. So if a person has the problem of urine drops coming out, that means a full salah time from A to Z, yani from whenever time that salah started all the way till the end, the whole time passed without the person leaking any urine drops, and they kept their wudu intact the whole time. So that is when it terminates, and they will only become a ma'zur once again after the initiation phase, which I already explained, occurs once again. So it's kind of difficult to think about it, but when you actually read about these rules, it's not too difficult to comprehend in that sense. Now the next thing is, if a person is a ma'zur, what is their ruling for them? So the ruling of the excused person of the ma'zur is that they only have to make wudu at the beginning of every single salah time. And whatever wudu that they make, they can do whatever ibadah during that whole salah period, whether it's salah, whether it's reading Quran, whatever it may be, even if they keep, whatever excuse happens, if they keep passing gas or if they the urine drops are dripping, whatever it may be, they will be considered ma'zur and they can do whatever ibadah. But when the next salah time starts, then they have to refresh their wudu once again, and then they can do whatever ibadah from that point all the way till the end. So this is what the ulama have explained. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has truly made it easy for the one who is in such condition that they do that. So this person who is in this state, if these conditions occur, then this is what they can do if they are in the state of being excused. Okay, third question is the question about non-alcoholic beers, right? So my question is really about the permissibility of two different products. Traditional non-alcoholic beers are typically labeled as those that contain less than 0.5% alcohol by volume. And it seems like other companies are offering truly alcohol-free brewed beers that list 0.0% alcohol by volume. right? So what are the permissibility and what is the rulings with regards to such types of products? Now, when you talk about a principal perspective when it comes to alcohol, in the Shara'i standpoint from the Hanafi perspective, khamar, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions clear cut in the Quran and it's mentioned in the Hadith, khamar is classified as those beverages that are derived or those things that are derived from grapes or dates, right? So any amount of a intoxicant or a drink like that, which is derived from grapes or dates, that has that type of alcohol, the fermentation from that, it will be considered impermissible no matter what amount it is. Now, as far as 0.5% or 0.0% that come from other grains like barley or whatnot, vast majority of the scholars have deemed these things as impermissible. And there have been some articles that have been mentioned that even with this amount, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best, that with a certain amount, a person may still become kind of impaired or whatever it may be. But many of the ulama have still said that even if it's 0.5% from these other grains and whatnot, as long as any type of alcohol is in there, it is considered impermissible. Some of the Hanafi scholars have talked about some other drinks that are related to nabidh, which is a type of drink that is fermented from dates or figs or other things like that. And it's not supposed to be a drink that reaches that level where one becomes intoxicated. But there's a certain way to make that particular drink. So they say those types of drinks would be permissible. But these types of drinks that they talk about, subhanAllah, a lot of people sometimes buy these drinks for the purpose of the tashabbuh bil kuffar, which is basically imitating actually drink these types of drinks. That's one thing that the ulama say. And another thing is a lot of these companies that make such drinks, their main business and their major business is making those haram drinks, which are completely impermissible. So why buy these drinks and support such companies that make that? So whether it's 0.5%, which vast majority of scholars say it's impermissible and it should be avoided, even 0.0%, from a principle standpoint, if it's truly 0.0%, then from the Ahnaf perspective, it could be permissible. But for the other reasons that I mentioned, it's better to avoid such types of things. However, from such a ruling that the Ahnaf say about khamar, they also say that, for example, medicines or medications that have a small percentage of alcohol that is not derived from grapes or dates, and as long as it does not intoxicate a person, for medicinal use, those types of medicines would be considered permissible when it comes to a fiqhi standpoint. So that's another ruling with regards to that. Okay, in Farad Salah, is it okay to read Subhanallah once or three times in the last two rak'ah instead of Surah Fatiha? And if one does that, will the Salah be valid? Now, first of all, if one is praying Salah in Jama'ah behind the Imam, then according to the Hanafi perspective, the muqtadi or the follower should remain silent. They should stay silent while the Imam is reading, because the recitation of the Imam is sufficient for the recitation of the muqtadi. That's one thing. But if a person is praying Farad Salah by themselves or as an Imam, then one should recite Surah Fatiha in Qiyam in the last two rak'ah of the Farad prayer. Why? Because this was the habit of the Sahaba radhiyallahu majma'een, who of course learned that from Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and this is mentioned in several hadith, right? So this is we always try to endeavor and try to follow the path of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the Sunnah as much as we can when it comes to the Salah. But if one does not recite Surah Fatiha in these rak'ah and merely recites Subhanallah, or even remains silent for that period of time and does not recite anything, the ulama say that the salah is still considered valid at this point, and it will not be a salah that will be broken. It will still be a salah that will be considered fine. So this is something that the ulama say during this. However, it is against the sunnah in terms of not reciting Surah Fatiha. So this is why we should do that. Last question is, what if one misses Jum'ah Salah? Now that the masjid is going to be opening for a limited amount of people, what about those who miss Jum'ah Salah now because they will not be able to come to the masjid? So the answer to this is, subhanAllah, we've been in this situation, as we know, for the last whatever months it's been, 3+ months, we haven't had Jum'ah Salah for the community at large, right? In our masjid, we haven't had that. Many people have been praying Dhuhr Salah at home. There have been some who may have been praying smaller Jum'ah Salahs, whatever it may be. But as we start allowing people, and on a limited amount of basis, as we know, this Friday we are opening for the first public Jum'ah, but only allowing 75 men and 25 women. I believe that is the number. Let me just double check here. Yes, 75 men, 25 women for each salah, for 2 salahs. And of course, we know with the amount of people that we have, that doesn't cover everybody. So there will be some people who will be left back, and there will be some people who will have to pray salah at home. So now, should those people feel guilty and say we missed the salah and now what do we do? No, because we are still considered to be in a situation of a pandemic, and we are safely trying to open as much as we can. So those people who miss out and who have to pray Dhuhr salah, they of course had the intention in their heart that we want to come to the masjid and we wanted to pray, but we were unable to do so because of the limited amount of numbers. So inshallah, they will still get that reward. And as we continue to increase the numbers, inshallah, in a safe manner, then, we hope to see more and more people, and hopefully we get to that number where we can cover the amount of people that we are typically accustomed to seeing in our community. So that's something that's very important. Speaking of which, that really ends the Q&A, but just wanted to, since we're doing a video now, just wanted to mention and remind everyone once again that, of course, we've been having our daily salahs. Right now for the daily prayers, we've of course been having about 40 people, 40 men and 15 women. So that is continuing right now. And of course, we tell everyone, and it's a necessity that everyone has to bring their prayer rug, has to bring their mask, and they have to, of course, go through that procedure. We posted a video mentioning the procedure when you enter the masjid. You have to answer a few questions and get your temperature taken and whatnot, and then you can enter the masjid as long as you have those things. As we say, no mask, no rug, no entry. So we have to remember that, because that's for the safety of oneself as well as the safety of the community that is around us. And when it comes to the Jum'ah Salah, we will of course have 2 Jum'ah prayers, and each will be 75 men and 25 women for each Salah. So this will be on a first come, first serve basis. And for Jum'ah, the doors will open 20 minutes prior to the Salah timing. So the first Jum'ah that we will have, the doors themselves will open, or the gates will open at 12:50 p.m. Inshallah, at 1:10 p.m. we will start the khutbah, and by 1:30, inshallah, salah will be complete. So with the process of the actual khutbah and the salah and everything together, by 1:30 everything will be complete. And then we will ask everyone to leave in an orderly fashion. So that way, when the doors open at 2 o'clock for the second prayer, then the people can come for that. So 2 o'clock, the doors will open for the second salah. 2:20 the khutbah will begin, and 2:40 will be the salah for the second Jum'ah. So again, this will be on a first come, first serve basis, and we ask you to have your rug and your mask as you enter. The sisters' check-in will be at a tent by the minaret, and the brothers' check-in will be by the main entrance. So that is an important thing. And also, those who are 65 plus, as well as those who are pregnant or with compromised immune systems, we ask you to please stay at home. This is for your safety and the safety of those that are around you as well. Those who do not have a mask or prayer rug, then you will be turned away, and there will be no exceptions for that. So this is another thing to remember. These are the conditions that we have, inshallah, and we hope to see some of you on Friday. And as the weeks come along, we hope to, inshallah, increase the number in a safe manner so that we can accommodate more people. This is, of course, the first week that we are doing Jum'ah, so it's going to be kind of a trial basis. We're going to see how everything goes, inshallah, and if everything goes smoothly, then we'll be able to increase the number by whatever amount it may be. So make dua that occurs so that we can, inshallah, be on the path to fully opening soon. And hopefully, inshallah, we don't get into the state where we see other states right now that are seeing increase in numbers. Hopefully, inshallah, we can do this in a safe way where we don't see any of that. So we just make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that things return to normal. It's been so long now. It's exciting for us to finally get to see people. It's been odd to speak to a camera and not in front of an audience. This time, inshallah, we'll have the opportunity to actually speak in front of some people. So we're looking forward to that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us all strong and healthy, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to open up back soon. Wa jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.